and welcome to Our World, Our Power Radio Show. You're here with Lady Pauline and the Honorable Mayor of Sutton Boulevard, Mr. Glenn Greenwich. And today we have a special guest.
Our special guest today is Andre Apparicio. Apparicio. Okay, good.
Welcome to our world.
Thank you.
You've been in business for a little while. Tell the audience exactly what you do.
Okay. Well, I have a nonprofit organization called It's a Process. It's geared towards helping the formerly incarcerated, just giving them overall basic support through both third-party referral sources and what we have to offer. The second piece of it is definitely dealing with our youth, trying to keep them away from being incarcerated. So we do a lot of different work as far as group homes, and schools, doing mentorships, just overall helping them avoid that prison pipeline that seems to be running rampantly. And last but not least is just making sure that we kill the overall stigma of those that come home. A lot of people really believe that people come home and go back right away and all those other things. And me being formerly incarcerated and knowing a lot of formerly incarcerated people that are out here, living, existing, doing the right things, making the right decisions, not letting that one decision that happened, or just take over their life.
Andrea, how did you turn your life around? What happened?
It's so interesting. People always ask me, what made you say that was this? And I think that the craziest thing is that I would love for people to start asking me, what made you remain the same while you was making those terrible decisions, I think that it was easier for me to say that I turned my life around because it was just overall, I wanted different. And I think that you have to really want different. A lot of people are always saying, I want to support this person and help them get to a certain particular point. And there's only just so much a real outside source can do. And it really came down to me making a conscious decision that I didn't want to go down the same road that I did. I didn't want to have my family flying up from North Carolina just to see me in court. I didn't want to have to look at my grandmother's face on a visit floor and someone saying, time's up, this is this is that, having my grandmother drive through snowstorms just to see me and things of that nature. I just wanted to really mature and grow up and say, you know what? If I really love my family, I gotta make sure that I show love the way it's supposed to be.
Now, there must have been somebody because clearly you chose, and you chose to do something different.
Right.
In choosing something different, who did you look up to or look out for, or could have been your grandmother, could have been somebody else around you?
Right. There was plenty of different influences. I will say that there was plenty of people, even in prison. A lot of the old timers that was there 20, 30 years were kind of would sit me down outside in the yard and look around. This is what you really want your future to be. This is it right here. When you go out there and you make these decisions, this is the end result if you're lucky. People don't even make it here because they die. And I think that overall, like I was saying, the love from my family, it came down to what did I value most, and what did I really have to hold on to say, in the midst of the stress and the struggle, that I'm not willing to put any of that on the line. And it was really family, it was really my grandmother. I tell a story all the time. I was on a visit floor and my grandmother, I came down on the visit floor. I'm looking at my grandmother and I'm like, something seems a little strange, a little off. And I noticed that her wig wasn't on. And I'm like, Grandma, you okay? And she said, no, it's all right, don't worry about it. They made me take my wig off. They said it had too many pins in it. And I was furious, right? Wow. So I'm like, nah, bro, I'm about to turn it up. Where the officer at? This is this. And she said, if you don't sit your narrow behind down. She said, boy, I can wear my wig at home. If you really cared about me being comfortable, then you should stay home.
Yeah.
And these are the things that play back in your head.
Yeah.
Different situations where you're like, I just don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
Now, your business that you do is non-for-profit.
Yes.
And who do you get your support and your backing from financially?
Financially, honestly, we haven't had any grants, any actual real funding. Everything that we've done has literally been from the support of the community. And when I say community, I mean my old community and my new community. And when I say that, I mean the people that I come in contact with that notice the passion. And, Councilman Miller always says, it's not enough to have passion. You got to have the passion and the skill set to really make this thing happen. And I wanted to really fine tune my craft. And I think that people watching me take the time to fine tune my craft. They're like, this guy is serious. This is this. So, thankfully, even we did a back to school drive in Kingston, Jamaica. And an interesting story about that was one of my friends, she had got arrested. They went to pick her up after work, and she thought she was just going to go back to her house. And the people she was in the car with did a drive-by shooting. And that's actually what was the last time they had the Belmont Fair, if you remember. And that's why they canceled the Belmont Fair, because of that drive-by shooting. And she was just in the car coming from work. And she was, she was here illegally. They ended up deporting her. She became a teacher in school, and when we did a drive here in Queens, she was like, Dre, there's a lot of people that need help in Jamaica. And we put it together. And I just remember her pressuring me like, are you gonna put it together? It's August, you haven't even done anything. I mean, it's June, we setting it up for August, and you haven't said if you collect the supplies. And I'm like, listen, chill, Sharice, I know my people. Once I say this is what we need, it's gonna come. And I'll never forget, we got over 700 books, over 200 packs of crayons, pencils, all up in 12 days, And it's kind of like, that's what it's been down to. People looking and saying, Dre, what you got next so that I can support? Even I have friends now that, I have accounts set up where I'll look at my phone and I'll get like some type of transaction where they'll just say, and they'll say for the process, for this, just keeping it alive until we really start getting the funding that we need to, to take those steps. So, luckily the team is getting bigger. We're all change agents. Anybody that's a part of the team, although I am the founder, there's nothing about that. We're all change agents. We all have a part of this. We're all taking part of this, because you never know what individual story that you bring can help somebody else. Because clearly my story ain't going to help change everybody.
Right.
But if we have a collective of stories, we have a collective of motivation, we have a collective of influence, we can influence a whole lot more.
Now, that sounds great. And you also, congratulations, you're a KSAC. I remember the day that I used to train KSACs, train people to become KSACs.
People may not know what that is.
Oh, yeah, well, KSAC is a certified alcohol substance abuse counselor. And you have to take a very extended course for about 3 years, actually, and hopefully you pass your test, or back on the road again to another test. So it's very intrusive. So anytime I hear somebody say that they're a KSAC, I know exactly what it entailed and so forth. And tell me, what is the support system that you have with the community, as far as the churches, the politicians? How does all that come together for your program?
Okay, well, actually, most recently, Evangel Temple, shout out to Pastor G over on American 227, I believe it is. He had me come in, and they had a leadership conference where they invited a whole bunch of pastors and ministers over. And he had me come in and speak to them, and just pretty much encouraging them to, do more for the youth. I grew up in church myself, and the last thing I wanted to do was learn about the streets in church, or learn about the streets from Deacon such and such that I know ain't been in the streets in 1,000 years. So I was encouraging them that it's okay to seek outside help when doing this. It's okay to take the kids on events that have nothing to do with church. Let them go bowling, have a discussion there. Let them go skating, have a discussion there. Let them, encourage them to just do more. And I think that after that conversation, I got a lot of different connections from a lot of different churches. Because at the end of the day, even if we look at the what's going on in Queens right now, believe it or not, majority of those kids are still going to church on Sunday. So I think that we have to start really going to where they're at, and we're talking about the schools and the churches and things like that. Just the support from Senator Connery, shout out to him and his office. They're always more than willing to help. As soon as I come in, I can't even say hi. They're like, you good? You need anything? You good? I'm like, I'm good. They know they donated some books to the library/bookstore that I have in Queens Parole. They're always giving information and stuff like that. And just overall conversations I have with people that work there is just so encouraging to sit down and, see them take off their political tie and kind of like, listen, this is what you need. You're a young brother that's really striving. This is how you fine tune this. Call me anytime, email me anytime, So between him and Councilman Miller, who's always been, since the very beginning, listen, I want to help you, but you got to show me something, and I appreciate that. In a world where everybody's just running up to politicians like, I need, he's kind of like, well, show me something, and then I'll help contribute. And that's what I think that just watching them kind of helped me develop my skill set and things of that nature. So, we being supported all across the board. I'm really glad to see that what we're doing is really taking off in all different avenues, from the churches to the schools to parole to just overall community activities.
Now you work with parole,
Mhm.
and in working with parole, you provide different services such as life skills, housing, and mental illness. Right now in the media, everything now is about mental health.
Right.
Okay, and that's a big problem. But it's been a problem for many years. It's just that now it seems like it's becoming, full circle is coming
Right.
to the surface. What does your program? How does your program address, say, mental health issues?
Well, what we do is we try to provide. I work with two other organizations, Think Tank and RAIN, which is two of my mentors in this whole nonprofit field. We're dealing with the formerly incarcerated. And what we try to do first is get them in a group therapy setting where we're sitting down and we're running little workshops to get to know them. And if we see that, we're deeming that they may need a little extra help, then we can try to refer them out, because, mental health runs rampant wherever you go. There's a lot of undocumented mental health issues that's going on in the community that people are just taking as violence or whatever the case may be. So, and not for nothing, I think right now, a lot of people are really running, like you said, it's prevalent because a lot of people are really acknowledging, like, you know what, maybe I do have a problem. I really shouldn't feel like this, So we're trying to push and gear towards that, and also giving some type of something concrete.
Okay.
Because what I've noticed, even when I came home, a lot of the organizations, they offered you stuff, but it was kind of like in the wind, if I can, put it in type of term. It was like, yeah, we have this, and you can do this. And then you get to the point, you're like, where's it at? And they're like, yeah, well, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And you can ask anybody that's come home. When you come home, your first initiative is to get back on your feet by your own means. And sometimes when I deal with those that are from incarcerated, I tell them, I know you fresh home now, but there are steps to get into independency. You can't just jump into independency. And you may need to, take some steps and speak to some people.
Give us some idea of what some of those issues are when you first come out, because I don't know that everybody really understands it unless you've been through that process themselves.
I mean, the issues vary. I mean, literally, I'll speak for myself. When I came home, it was just about finding employment. I tell people, when you deal with the formerly incarcerated, if they have a comfortable living situation in meaningful employment, because they have employment services and programs, but if you see the things that they employ you to do, you're kind of like,
really?
I'd rather just run the street. This is actually retarded.
Yeah.
It was one program I went to, and the old folder files with the metal in between. My job for 6 hours was to separate the metal and the paper and throw it in separate garbage cans. So I would come home and my aunt's like, how was work? I'm like, I don't talk about no work. That wasn't work. I feel like a Riri. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is just, so that's what we look to do. I think it's just overall empowering. A lot of people come home, they have the housing issues. So a lot of them have the child support issues. A lot of them have literacy issues, which is huge. A lot of people really don't know that, a lot of people that's formerly incarcerated, they have real difficulties. For an example, a dude called me and said, yo, Drake, I'm filling out this app, but I don't know, I can't, what is DOB? And I'm like, DOB? What are you talking about? So I told him, send me a picture. And it was literally date of birth. But we're talking to some people that never filled out an application, so I can't even fault. People don't even know what that looks like. Right. Even when it comes down to applying for food stamps and stuff like that, you get to certain questions where they're asking how many people is in the household. You don't want to answer that, because if somebody allowed you to parole to their house, they don't want the government all in their business.
That's true.
Right.
So you have all of these things where you kind of like, I need these food stamps, but I don't want people all in my people's business. I'm hungry, I need this. You know how many times I've sat down with clients and I had to stop speaking to them and take them to go get food because I heard their stomach growling?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned something earlier off camera. You talked about just something as simple as getting clothes.
Yeah, something as simple as getting clothes is so difficult. We have so many people out here that when they come home, they don't have the basic necessities, which is why we're looking to push for a hygiene drive and get underwear aside. It's getting cold now. We need hats, we need scarves, we need gloves. You know, some people come and sit in my program 2 weeks with the same clothes on.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, where are they going to get the money for this? It's either eat or, you know, clothes. And what do they do? You know, they kind of just flip it inside out, turn it inside out, you know. So that's a huge issue that people really kind of skip over. Even down to, we have those that are literate, now we're talking about those that have been away, and it's the technology era. A dude came, and I swear to you, he had about as many papers as you have here of emails. And do you know why? Because somebody told him he had to use emails to fill out for jobs, but he didn't know you could use one. So he created an email for every job that he applied for.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And these are the things that we take for granted because we know. But if they're coming home, they don't know that. So who's really sitting there and saying, this is what you need to do?
All right, so that's a big point. Now, what happens when you're incarcerated? You know, like I know years ago, I'm going back maybe 20, 30 years ago, they used to have training programs within the prison system that, you know, the way you went in is not the same way you came out.
Right.
At least you got a GED. And at one point it was supposed to be mandatory that, you know, that you get this GED.
Right.
Once you're incarcerated.
Right.
What's going on about that? Is that still in effect or
It's
is
still
not?
mandatory. If you don't have your GED, you have to do at least one school module. The problem is the GED is here and some of the educational level is here. So you don't have to necessarily do anything. You just have to go to the class. So if I have issues reading, you're not going to sit a GED book in front of me and expect me to answer those questions. So what I'm going to do, spend that time sleeping because they're not going to bother them. Spend that time talking because they're not going to bother them as long as they show up for that. There's nobody taking that initiative saying, why would you come in here and sit here for an hour and a half and not do nothing? I wonder what's that issue. You know, so these are the things that are transpiring. When it comes down to programming, we don't have as much programming as we had before. Why? Because dudes just coming home full-scale bachelors and stuff, and everybody's like, I got student loans for the stuff that he got. That's not fair. You know, I believe there was over 70 college programs, and now there's like 10 in the state right now, something like that. You know, don't quote me on that, but I know it dwindled down a lot. You know, the things that they're offering. Even when you're going home, before you go home, they put you in this thing 90 days before you go home called Phase 3. Phase 3 is supposed to help phase you out of prison.
Right.
It's supposed to give you information. Here's who you can contact when you get home, stuff like that. I called half those numbers that they gave me, they was out of service. So it's like, how did that benefit me? Any?
So what I hear is that the services are not being provided inside, and then when you get out, it's scant to none.
It's obsolete, you know. And don't get me wrong, there are programs out there, but what we have to understand is that certain individuals are not at the level of working, schooling, stuff like that. They have other issues that you need to deal with first. Like, to me, it's completely moronic to put a dude in a working program and he don't have a GED. And you're like, well, we're helping to build your resume. So if you want to build his resume, maybe you should send him to school.
First.
Because the GED is
Right.
the basic level saying that you understand how to turn this light switch on and off.
Right. Yeah.
You know, but be it as it may, this is the situation. You go into parole and they're like, you gotta make sure that you go to your programs, you get a job, you home for curfew, no drugs, stuff like that. And it's kind of like, okay, I get that, but where are we meeting them at? We're bringing them to this level that they're not at, and then when they don't meet that level, it's kind of like, all right, well, maybe you need 45 days in EdCom to figure this out because you're not understanding it. No, that's not it, you know?
But isn't it very disparaging to the client? Well, you are giving this client these type of expectations. All right, we want you to go get a job. We want you to do this. We want you to, but the client is not ready.
Right.
So you're like almost setting the person up for failure.
Yeah. Well, you know what I always tell people is when people fail to realize that parole officers, they have their things that they need to do as far as dealing with parolees. And a lot of these parole officers are human beings. Contrary to popular belief, people think they're like superhuman. And believe it or not, I've heard it with my own ears where officers are like, "You're a grown man, you can't do this," and they have their own personal biases that get into
Okay.
that, you know?
Sure.
And you'll see it amongst other officers where they're like, "I can't stand the way this lady act. Like, everybody ain't the same." You know, I always hear that, "You're a grown man, act like a grown man." I mean, there's theories that say that the year that you got incarcerated is literally the year that when you come home, you're kind of still in that mindset until your mind's adjust. There's theories that prove that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Not only that, you don't know who, just because a dude was away for 15 years, that don't mean he was away with positive people for 15 years. If
Right.
you listen to some of these conversations, you'd be like, half the time I didn't even go out to the yard, I'm like, you were talking about something you haven't even seen, OT. You ain't been out there in 40 years. What are you talking about? I read it. Where? You know what I mean? Oh, I seen this. I said the last time he was in the street, TV cut off on its own. You know, so you can't tell me about something that I was just out there doing. You know? So it's like you just think about these things and you say, you know, you want to make sure that people understand that we got to bring the specialists in before they push this whole thing with our generation with degrees, and then everybody realized that it was kind of scamish. It was like, yeah, you're gonna go to school so you can get this degree, so you can get this good job, and when you get that good job, your student loans are so high, it's like you making minimum wage. And now what people are looking for is specialists. Degree tells you have an overall knowledge in said subject. A specialist says this is what you do, and this is my issue with parole. I believe that they need specialists in certain cases. Because there's certain people that need that help. We talk about mental health, we talk about literacy, we talk about housing, we talk about all these other things, and it's like, yeah, I know that, but he's just doing that because he wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Like, who literally says this person just wants to go back to jail? I will never accept that as a reason for a person going back.
What about the trades, construction trades and whatnot? Is any of that going on?
I mean, right now,
inside or outside?
Right now, I can't speak for it too much for inside. I know right now you can get a construction job. You know, they have all these things. They have the OSHA classes from the library officer on down. But some of the issues, dudes are like, ain't no way in the world that I'm working and slaving behind the wall and then coming home. And they're looking at it as the same thing. You know, some people are saying, I want to be able to work with my hands. I'll tell you a story where I was supposed to, when I applied for my CASAC, I was supposed to go through Access Beyond to get the scholarship.
Yes.
Regular. I go to meet with my counselor. Older white dude, he's looking at me, he's like, you know, you're young. I told him I want to take my CASAC. I don't need to take your CASAC. You should get into construction. You're young and strong. CASAC is for the old dope fiends.
What?
So I told him, listen, you know what? Never mind, because I can do more than work with my hands. As I'm leaving out, he's chasing me to the hallway, whatever the case may be. I go back to the program. Now, they know they sent me there to get the CASAC stuff. They said, what happened? I told them what they said. They filed a grievance on my behalf. He wrote in a notarized letter that I told him I wanted to do construction. And these are the people that are set in place to help you.
They're supposed to be helping you.
So down the line, after I said, you know, I'm just going to work, I come back around to want to do my CASAC again. Now this man is the supervisor of the whole program. So when I told the director of the school about the story, he said, well, listen, let's just apply and see what happens. And I told him, listen, I'll pay half. I just want to be able to do this.
Do it.
And luckily, you know, Joe Turner, shout out to him, he was kind of like, I'll put this in my pocket. I can see it in your eyes. This is what you want to do, so I'm going to hold you down. Grateful. And guess what? I still got denied that scholarship because of some type of loophole. Okay. Because the dude remembered my name, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's okay, because once I got my CASAC and I finished school, I'm sure he remembered. I sent him a nice copy of it. Remember me forever.
Good.
That's right.
Remember me forever, Mr. Bradfield.
That's right.
I'm out here.
Well, you do know why that is, because the CASAC is a stepping stone to becoming a social worker. Mm-hmm. And if a lot of people come out of incarceration and they're able to obtain that CASAC, mm-hmm. you know, it's overcoming a whole lot. So
it's a career path.
It's a career path. It can change your life.
Yeah, it's changed mine. I know. You know, I like even down to getting it and thinking about getting it. My friend, God rest his soul, Heavy passed away, and before Heavy passed, he said, "Yo, Dre, when you was out in the street, you was the leader of this. You know, we roll everybody." People respect what you say. You know, they're gonna follow what you say. You need to do counseling to help motivate people to do what you're doing now. Just be positive. Kind of just shunned it away. We passed away, and you know, I had my counselor saying the same thing, which is the reason why I did that. And come to find out, after Heavy passed away, I went back to the program and found out that my counselor passed away. And to me, it was like, I gotta do this for both of them.
Yeah.
And that's why I started to do that and stuff like that, you know. And it just was just, everything just started lining up to the point where I was doing cleaning services in a building in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And in that same building was the headquarters of the program. So when I told the director I wanted to do it again and try to get the scholarship, he said, why don't you go down to the office, you know, and see. So I go over there with my mop bucket. The secretary's like, can I help you? You here to clean? I'm like, no, I want to speak to Mr. Varma. She's like, the vice president? Yeah. Do you have a meeting? I said, I don't have no meeting. It's only going to take a second. His door was wide open. He's like, you want to speak to me? I'm like, Mr. Varma, right? He's like, yeah. Went, chopped it up with him, told him this, and he was the one that helped me get to Mr. Turner, that helped me get my case set, that helped me get to where I'm at now, you know. And we talk about the state exam and how hard that was, and how the average person takes it like 3 times. And I did that whole school state exam in 1 year and finished and passed the state exam.
Good for you.
That's wonderful.
Congratulations.
So it was kind of like, and to me, it was a turning point to realizing how the real workforce is, because people were really my friends, like cheering me on in the program. Counselors like, it's good to see another nice young brother doing this. And as soon as I passed it, they felt like I was gonna come for their job.
Yes, well that's
Wow.
very
And they
true.
were talking about me like, and I had to catch myself because I ended up actually pulling one of the dudes to the side. Now, you know, we both was in, that closed the door behind me like, what's up?
Yeah,
like,
now,
I really didn't know what's going on.
now you
know?
are a threat.
Yeah, like, you know, and it's just like, you know, it's just a testament of time, because that was just the first of many times that people backstabbing me off of the fact that they think I want their position. And I'm like, I'm in my own path.
Yeah.
I'm in my own path.
And there's enough for everybody.
It's enough for
There's no scarcity.
They will never, ever understand that. Ever.
You're listening right now to Our World, Our World Power. You can hear us on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, and Google Play. Please do not forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Our World Media.
And our sponsor is Stephen G. James and Associates, located at 8766 Sutphen Boulevard. Number is 646-905-9000. He hasn't lost a case in 30 years. So this is a guy that you definitely want to support you in law.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna take a picture of that now.
Now, Andre, you work with the community and all the politicians and everything, and I'm still waiting to see this community center. And for years I've been hearing about it's coming, right? Why is it still coming? Why hasn't it arrived? Is my question. I mean, we've had many different politicians in office. As a matter of fact, we did have one called the Sean Bell Center on Sutphen Boulevard. And it was a very nice idea, you know, and it was supposed to be a community center, and then I think in about 2-3 years it was closed.
Right.
Why is it so difficult to get a community center, and it's so much needed for the community to keep young people off the street and keep them engaged, not just off the street, but engaged in productive activities?
You know, that question is, honestly, I mean, from a political standpoint, from what I've been hearing, is the fact that we're not viewed as a low-income community, and that it's easier for lower-income communities to get that. My own personal point of view is people really don't see it as a need. We haven't really unionized and galvanized and said, you know what, this is what we want, you know? Because people are setting, like my grandmother said to me one day, the issue with you guys is that when I was younger and we had that, and she's from Memphis, Tennessee, they did everything together. She said, everybody wants their own little separate fires, and people are just, it's easier to put out a separate fire instead of a real big one burning. She said, the moment y'all pull together, y'all will really understand what this is about. And that's what I think it's boiling down to. People have these separate fires burning when we all need to be standing where we need to stand, speaking to who we need to speak to, and saying, this is what we want. We're not asking you, we're telling you. When we had the employment fair for, we call the felony friendly employment fair for for parole and stuff like that, we went to the local businesses right here on Jamaica Avenue. And we told them, we need you to send some representatives down and hire some people that are in this community. Why? Because you will not be taking money from this community and think you're not gonna hire everybody that's in this community. And if you don't, we gonna make it happen. Do you really want cameras and people in front of your stores saying that they're not hiring everybody from this community? And immediately they was like, we'll meet y'all there. Perfect, you know? And we have to start working together. I'm not saying we have to boycott everything, but give us what's due. This is the community, like you said, for years, we've been asking for this.
asking, yes, years.
You know?
I think one of the issues is that we haven't figured out the funding process so that we're self-funding.
Right.
You know, you as an organization need to have money that's coming in that you don't have to write a grant for or be chasing down every year to get funded.
Yeah.
So we've got to look at this collective investing, collective bargaining, so that we're now creating sustainable economic flow that can support the work that you're doing and community centers and so forth, so that we can provide something for our young people. Because it's not going to happen. You know,
they're not just going to give it to us. Like you said, we have to sit there and say, you know what, we got to pull our money together. You know, because even when it comes down to the discretionary funding, what people don't understand about that, they're like, oh yeah, you can get $3,000 from the councilman. Yeah, you could after you spend it.
Right.
And you bring
got to spend it
so
first.
if you don't have it, you're not going to get anything. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what's happening.
That's the
if
real
we don't
talk.
pull together and say, here's the money, and we all know we're going to get it back, then they're not doing it. And that just comes from just the financial literacy piece in itself. A lot of people know money and don't know finances.
A lot of people.
A lot of people will literally sit here and I'm talking about not even encouraged to, you know, learn it, or do they want to learn? They're kind of like, well, I got this money now. Yeah, for now. You know,
Well, look at your lottery winners. You know,
oh yeah,
they win millions of dollars in 2, 3 years, 5 years. They're broke. More broke than they started out.
Yeah, and that's the worst part, you know. So I think that we have to look towards looking to somebody to spearhead the financial piece and saying, listen, if this is really what y'all want, as the old saying goes, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
It's the only way, because like we said at the meeting, what they don't understand is that you may not want to pay any money for this community center, but you'll pay in lives if you don't.
Exactly.
And that's what it's boiled
down. Pay me now or
to.
pay me later.
Pay me
but
now,
you're gonna pay.
Pay me later, but you're gonna pay. You know?
Tell me, in the next 5 years, what would you like to see happen with your organization? What would you like to accomplish?
I mean, the next 5 years, my main goal is to actually get some type of community center. And the main reason for the community center is not for the kids. I think we have a lot of parents that need mentoring. And I think that it's boiling down to that, because I sit and I listen to different conversations, and even when you go into these schools and I'm talking to these kids, and it's like, well, my mom said this and my mom said that. And I think that a lot of the things that they're passing on to the kids is just off of sheer stress, financially, emotionally. You know what I mean? People are just tired.
Yeah.
Like when I was talking to my grandmother, she's like, you know, it was easy for me to work 8 hours and go home. The parents now gotta work 16 hours plus cook, sell food trays, plus, you know, and it's like just to make ends meet. So we're not saying that, you know, on the other end, we have to make sure that the parents are actually looking to be financially stable and not just working jobs, getting into careers and stuff like that. Because when the peace starts from the top at home anyway. You know? So, and once you see that, you can at least have that trickle down. And while we're working with the youth, so that's why I really want to do my community center, so we can have a space to express ourselves, talk, vent. We don't have to wait till 10,000 debates or till some election time is coming up to see our politicians hit the streets. It's like, oh, such and such is coming on Mondays, such and such come on every third Tuesdays, this, so you know you can sit there and you can meet and you can do that. And also just making the push for more of the schools. I love working with the kids. I work with kids in so many different schools all throughout this country. And I realized that, you know, a lot of people are going about it the wrong way. These kids kind of know what they want. They just don't know how to verbalize it in a certain way. You know, if you ask these kids, they're kind of like, you know, we're not out here wanting, you know, the whole world. We just want to be respected as this. And I tell people, you know, it all boils down to how the system is going down. Even with kids, you look at kids. If a kid is in a classroom and he's too quiet, he needs medicine. He's too active.
Right.
He needs medicine.
Right? But we can identify adults as introverts and extroverts and have no issue with that.
Right.
You know, so it's like, are these not little humans, or do we have them on a higher scale than we have adults? What in the world is going on here?
And the quickness to medicate. That's the thing that gets me. You know, you talk about medication, you talk about just healthy eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's another piece that we
I
haven't
have
talked
even
about.
my guy Roger, because me and him we're looking to do joint things. He has an organization called My Little Text where he's teaching STEM and coding and stuff like that with the kid.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is, all right, we're going to take out this aspect, but I'm also going to introduce this to you, because this is, you know, the coming world. And he also has a person that he works with that's big on food and how the food affects the brains and, you know, and the emotions, and, you know, certain foods you eat, it'll literally keep you up all night.
Yes,
People don't realize that. And then you go to school tired, the teacher's like this, and you like, and then you get in trouble. It's just a domino effect.
Yeah.
We have to really acknowledge these things for what it is. So, you know, that's my main goal, is making sure that we have some type of center, some type of space where people can come in and say, this is what I need, and just help me out here. And also that we're in these schools and I have a team. Like my next big thing is making sure that I have an agency of mentors from all different backgrounds, not just formerly incarcerated, you know, those that dealt with physical abuse and mental abuse and domestic violence and stuff like that, because that thing starts young.
Yeah.
I'm watching 14-year-old dudes pull like girlfriends around in the street as if it's some type of game. And it's like, what are you doing here? You know, these young ladies are subject to a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot younger than people think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like we have to start addressing these issues, or they're going to continue to grow and continue to magnify. And everybody's like, I don't know where we went wrong. The beginning.
Andre, how can people reach you? And please tell the audience the name of your organization and how people can reach out to you.
Oh, well, anybody can reach out to us. We're on Instagram, it's a process_org. Facebook, it's a process. Twitter, it's _a_process. You guys can reach out to us. You can reach out to me directly through my email. It's a process.org@gmail.com. I'm always answering DMs, emails, always willing to come out and speak, always willing to come out and have these conversations, because they're needed. They're needed. And, you know, like my boy, he hit me up and he said, you know, we should do a podcast called the Nothing to Lose Podcast. And I'm just like, this is where we at right now. We really have nothing to lose. This is not one of those things where I'm begging for sponsorships. I don't need none of that. I'm not signing no death row contracts for the sake of funding. I believe that if it's for me, it's for me. You know, at the beginning of the year at church, I prayed, and then after the prayer, I said alignments and assignments, and things have been clicking ever since then. You know, like I was telling you guys off camp, 5 city citations, 12 awards, where the recognition is benefiting in a way where people are looking at us and saying, how can we support you? And that's all I want. I want people to realize that this is something where you can come and be a part of without the extra strings attached. Like, oh, this is what you want to do? This is where we at. This is what we need to do. We need to take care of. We need to talk about financial literacy. We need to talk about mental health. We need to talk about the fact that 63 to 83% of the people that get arrested are under some type of influence. We need to talk about the fact that 40% of the people that get arrested for violent crimes are under the influence of alcohol. And there's a liquor store. There's more liquor stores than places to buy food in our community.
Well, you know what? I just want to thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for the work that you're doing in our community. The thing that I'm so clear about is that you are motivated, self-motivated.
Right.
And that is so important in our community to bring that type of leadership to any particular issue. And of course, formerly incarcerated is a huge issue in our community.
Right.
And so I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you guys for having me. You know,
Thank you for
very
being
much.
on Our World, Our Power. You've been listening to Lady Pauline and Mr. Glenn Greenwich, our Honorable Mayor of Sutton Boulevard. And please don't forget to listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, and Google Play, where your news reflects you and your community. Catch you guys next week. Thank you.